Good morning, everyone. It's Flex coming to you again from my home gym with yet another post-workout rant complete with bed hair. Sorry, not sorry. So, the budget passed last night, and it seems like there might have been some shenanigans. But let's just talk about the budget first. This budget is an absolute shit show. Sorry for swearing, but it is. It absolutely is. So, I've already talked about the debt levels, the shortfalls, the increase to the national debt, which will be $1.6 trillion by the end of this 5-year budget, and the massive interest payments that will be over $300 billion, and the paltry little tax cut that is $27 billion over the 5 years. So 1/14 of what they're charging you in interest, they're going to give you back in a tax reduction. These people are jokers. They're jokers. They're selling this like it's the greatest budget ever and it's going to help everybody out. No, it's impoverishing everybody. And what I really want to talk about today, because I think I've covered everything else enough in previous videos, is the GDP. I didn't really talk about that too much in previous videos, but one of their biggest selling points for this budget was we're going to spend less, we're going to invest more. Investments typically yield a return, and that's what they've been talking about. They're going to spend money to have a return down the road, to make money. But if you look at their GDP projections, most of it's coming from inflation. And they're targeting for over 2% inflation, which is ridiculous in the first place. Historically, it might have made sense, but with our consumer price index being 17% higher in 2025 than it was in 2020, to continue at over 2% a year is just going to keep impoverishing people because nobody's getting ahead. But if you take a look at their GDP numbers, and I'll post a screenshot, they're projected to be about 1% after adjustment for inflation. So most of the growth that they're projecting is coming from inflation. So what are all the investments yielding? Absolutely nothing, according to their own projections. Why isn't the media calling them out on that? Why does the media not ask pertinent questions? I mean, I've been in account for 25 years, and when I present numbers, people ask me very pointed questions. And if I don't know the answer, good things don't happen, right? But I always make sure I know the answer. But anyways, where's Vashi Capellos? Where's David Cochrane on the GDP growth and the disconnect between the investments and a lack of GDP growth? Anyways, think about that. The next thing I want to talk about, I got up very early this morning. I was up before 5, so was Mrs. Flex, and I started looking at all these posts on the shenanigans that went down during this vote, with Scheer and another MP hanging out outside the House of Commons, coming in, saying that their app wasn't working. Why were they even trying to vote with the app when they were outside? It doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes any sense. And their poor excuse for Shannon Stubbs not voting. Okay, so she was recovering from surgery. She posted on X yesterday morning she couldn't use her phone and the app to vote, like so many other MPs that weren't in the House of Commons last night. I don't know. Things seem very shady. It's very weird to me. I understand the Conservatives probably don't want an election right now, because there's a lot of polls that are saying if there was an election right now, the Liberals would win a majority, and that would be horrible for Canada. I mean, they're so darn close right now, and if they ever do, if any more MPs cross the floor, we're in for a world of hurt in this country. We probably will never have another election again. We'll probably never have another Conservative government again. That's for sure. That's for sure. It's already looking that way because the entire media is anti-conservative, and 60 to 70% of Canadians, they're brainwashed. I said it yesterday. I think Ryan Garrettson posted a thread about the possible election, and I said, I don't think anything will change. And I really don't. I mean, the last election really proved that. After 10 years of Trudeau, if we couldn't get the Liberals out, there's no hope. There's no hope. And why? Why? Because the mainstream media is completely biased against the conservatives, and they will never get a fair shake in the media. They will never be able to get their message out clearly. You know, maybe in 20 years when there's no boomers left to vote, then maybe we'll see a change. I don't know. Anyways, those are my random thoughts on this Tuesday morning. Peace.